I think AI, forget about advertising, for the world is one of the biggest significant changes in our society in a very long time. And so in advertising, two things stand out tremendously. One, the term prompt engineering will become top of mind in the ad world. Two, for strategists, I think it's going to become a remarkable partner in thinking. So I think that is going to really stand out. I think that what the internet research that strategists do to create briefs, or in our world, create cohorts, is about to be very affected. And then I think creatively, it's very on everyone's radar that we have enormous capabilities brewing to produce pictures and videos at shocking speeds, shocking accuracy, shocking quality. And then finally, I think influencer marketing will be very affected because AI influencers are gonna work.
Attention is the number one asset.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Patient, competitive, kind.
Nice. Okay, so how do you maintain authenticity in marketing while scaling to different parts of the globe?
For us, it's easy because I think we take a consumer up approach versus a boardroom down approach. And what I mean by that is our model of marketing has a heavy belief and reliance on day-to-day ads within social to many different consumer segmentations. So we're able to win on volume and context instead of the way most advertising agencies work, which is they want to come up with one big idea and push it down. And obviously, if you get that idea wrong, it feels incredibly not authentic. So, for us, as we scale globally, even within the US where we started our company, we think differently about the consumer in 100 different ways, not in 1 or 2 ways. And so that framework of marketing that we believe in has boded very well for us in other markets because we don't think monolithic. We think there's so many different, we think in a world of thousands of pebbles, not one boulder. And so, for example, Meta is a monster in India, but it obviously has many of its own localized, platforms, Moj, things like that, Josh and Share Chat and things like that. So it's had a different history than some other parts, more similar to Japan where line is important. But other than that, it becomes around interests, right? So obviously everyone's favorite cricket team is different, or football team, or what their beverage of choice is, or music, or which Bollywood movies they like more than others. So like every market, the interest graph is very substantial.
Okay, so which demographic do you think relates to you the best?
Me personally? The data shows that 15 to 45-year-old male is a really strong play for me. My data skews about 70% male, 30% female. But I'm in an interesting time in my career where a lot of people, where the demo's skewing older as I get older and as people grow with me. So a lot more, because I'm a top 20 followed person on LinkedIn in the world, I get a lot of 50, 60, 70-year-old fans. And over the last 7 years with TikTok, I definitely aged down more into 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's kind of where I'm at. Okay.
So how do you balance personalized advertising with concerns about user privacy? Elon Musk he's concerned about Apple's new tools and how it poses a privacy risk. So how do you balance personalized advertising with user privacy?
Pretty easily. I don't think even with extreme data, let's say I really knew that I was marketing to all 8 billion people one by one. If I literally knew I was talking to you or Dustin or Kelly, like I knew the video or picture would see you and I knew a lot about you, I still wouldn't have the ability to make enough creative to take advantage of that. And so I think that this is one of those things that people talk about in theory versus practicality. In practicality, We are segmenting people anyway. And the level of data that's available, even if we went mundane and gave people a lot of privacy, would still be more than enough for us to have effective, targeting capabilities. Plus, to be frank, first-party data and privacy is all great, but the algorithms moving content in front of people that are likely to be interested in it, in a lot of ways from the world that I live in and care about brand building and social and things of that nature, has not mitigated it, but has created a slightly different game, which is, for example, for us, we're more passionate about organic and letting the content find the people that are interested and then extract quant and qual insights from that kind of behavior, more so than, what people want to do is track people around the internet and break them down until they buy something. And I think that ship has sailed post iOS 14.5, right? So I think what, a lot of people are worried about with Apple is they have so much control because they have the device where so much people are consuming. But I view that as sales, not marketing and branding anyway. When somebody is constantly pounding you on email or putting banner ads in front of you saying, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, I don't think that's building brand. That's trying to convert sales. And I think performance marketing as a term is a little bit of a farce. I think it's performance selling. And I think we have to talk about that nuance.
Okay. So you were quoted saying that we stink at today and we're always looking to the future. How can we not stink?
Boy, that's what I've been trying to pull off for the last 15 years. Not only do I think we stink at today and look too much to the future, we're infatuated with the future. I think the biggest answer to your question is stop putting the past on a pedestal. I would say the biggest issue is that we're too romantic about the past. You know this because you're in the industry. It is shocking how many people still fantasize and spend most of their energy on the 30-second commercial. It's 2024. And so I think more so than tomorrow's AI, I think yesterday's television spot is killing us. Okay.
So what do you see as the impact of AI on advertising?
Substantial. I think AI, forget about advertising, for the world is one of the biggest significant changes in our society in a very long time. And so I think that in advertising, two things stand out tremendously. One, the term prompt engineering will become top of mind in the ad world. Two, for strategists, I think it's going to become a remarkable partner in thinking. Right? So I think that is going to really stand out. So I think that what the internet research that strategists do to create briefs, or in our world, create cohorts, is about to be very affected. And then I think creatively, I think it's very on everyone's radar that we have enormous capabilities brewing to produce pictures and videos at shocking speeds, shocking accuracy, shocking quality. So I think that's going to have a heavy impact as we figure out. Right now, what's holding us back in advertising is litigation, right? People are worried about getting sued, copyright, trademark. But once that's hurdle is cleared, everyone will be doing it. And then finally, I think influencers are going to be very affected. Influencer marketing will be very affected because AI influencers are going to work.
Okay. All right. So you've had a series of wins, but what has been your most significant failure that you've learned from, and how did it change your approach to marketing and advertising and your personal brand?
I think I've had a lot of what I would call micro losses. I don't tend to bet the farm on things if I'm not sure, which is, I'm still an immigrant. And so I tend to be a little bit more risk adverse than people think. So, I think let's talk about advertising. There's been two divisions that I've desperately tried to start multiple times that have not taken off for me. One is several years ago, I started something called Vayner Sampling. So it was a sampling and trial division that just never took off. And then Vayner Live, an events experiential division that I've tried to get off the ground twice, neither really took, and I had to shut down all of them. And I think with those, what I learned was, two things. One, you have to have the right person in place to run it. And 2 to 3 times I didn't. But even when I did, if you're, when you're like me and you're an entrepreneur, you like to do a lot of things. But if you're juggling 25 balls, 10 of them are going to fall. And I think what I learned, what I'm always need to be careful of is 2 things. One, fighting on too many fronts and not being able to do that. And 2, this one I've really learned. The first one, I still want to do too many things. I like it too much. The second one I've learned, which is what we talked about earlier, I used to be too early on things because I could see them. But I've learned, and this is why I say stop being infatuated with tomorrow. I've learned that it takes the rest of the world a couple of years to catch up. If you go too fast, there's no customers for it.
Okay. So that actually brings me to my question on NFTs. What's your current take on them?
VFriends is going extremely well. We have VCon coming in August. We have a kids book coming out in July. We have our cartoons coming out in the fall. And on the NFT front, it's obviously very clear where it's at, but it's my take on it is what my take was at the time. If you go back and look at all the videos I made in August of 2021 and all the media appearances I made, I consistently said that 99% were going to go to zero. And so, I still believe, I believe that once people understand what AI is all about, the blockchain technology is going to become very important. And I believe NFTs will be important contracts. And in non-fungible token contracts, a small sliver will be collectibles. And 1% of that small sliver of collectibles will be highly collectible. And I plan on making VFriends one of them.
Okay. My last question. You started stocking shelves at your father's wine business. What has stacking wine bottles taught you about building a brand?
Oh, I love you for this one. Working retail is the #1 prep to be good at marketing, in my opinion, in the world, because you are forced to see the consumer every day make decisions. And you learn about brand and sales and signage and positioning and behavior. Working the floor, stocking shelves, helping customers is the foundation of Gary Vee and VaynerMedia.
Okay, I still have a minute. I have one more question. If you had to start marketing for a new product with absolutely no budget, what would be your first step?
Organic social media. I'm glad we got this question in because I'm going to milk it for one more second.
Okay.
The #1 thing that most people don't understand in Fortune 500 global marketing right now is that organic social media is the great equalizer and the great opportunity. And so both, it's an opportunity for them. Coca-Cola in India, organic social should be #1. It's a great opportunity, but it is the great vulnerability too, because companies with no budget and distribution can build enormous brand very quickly with zero money.